All right, please introduce yourself, state your name and DOC number for the record.
Derrick Williams, 548-794.
All right, Daryl, my name is Brendan Kelsey. I'm Cheryl Renata, Ms. Bonnie Jackson. I'll explain the process to you, read some information to the record, have a parole interview, ask you some questions. You can respond at the end. You can make a statement. We'll take a vote. You understand the process?
Yes.
All right, you have some people here that will be speaking. Elaine Williams, Harris Williams. We also have LaShunta Turcotte, who won't be speaking. Nakara Gilliard won't be speaking. Kente Franks will be speaking. Renata Compton won't be speaking. Lenoria Porter won't be speaking. And then we also in opposition, we have Mr. Randy Meyer who will be speaking, and Colton and Suzanne Lell.
Okay.
All right, Derrick Williams, DOC number 548-794. You're a first class offender. Parole eligibility date 8/10/2023. Good time date 4/25/2029. Full term date 8/4/2034. 30-year sentence for manslaughter. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, would you please answer Ms. Jackson's question?
Good morning, Mr. Williams. How are you doing?
All right, good morning.
How old are you, Mr. Williams?
44 years old.
And how much time have you actually served on this sentence?
18 and a half years.
How old were you when you were involved in this crime?
25.
Excuse me, Ms. Jackson, could you hold a second? It's Randy Meyer. The victims at our office, they didn't get the code to get in, and they have it now, so they're about to get in.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You know, when the prosecutor, Randall Meyer, shows up, that it's a serious case. It's interesting with the prior cases we've had where there were no, where the prosecutor didn't show up and there weren't even family members of the victims. So I don't know if the prosecutor shows up because the family members are like advocating it and lobbying it. We'll find out. We'll find out. You know, we see manslaughter a lot, but oftentimes that's just the plea deal that they get to avoid a trial. And so we'll find out the details. He served 18 and a half years. He was 25 when he did the crime. He's 44 now. Was it a 39-year sentence, not a 40-year sentence? It's interesting. I wonder how they come up with that.
Now we got Randy. We need Colton and Suzanne.
Mr. Meyer,
Yes, ma'am.
are they in the process of logging on?
Yes, ma'am, they are. They were in the waiting room and they weren't brought in, so I texted them the code that was sent to me. And I was just on the phone with Nancy Michelle, who's our victims coordinator, and so she said she was getting in.
All right. All right. Now we have.
Maybe, okay, we'll go ahead. I think everybody's in now. We'll go ahead and continue, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
All right. I'll start over. Mr. Williams, how old are you?
25 years old. 44 years old. Sorry.
And you've been incarcerated 18 and a half years?
Yes, ma'am.
And you indicated that you were 25 years old when this crime occurred. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about your involvement in this crime. It's my understanding that the group of you all who were charged with this were under the impression that the victim had either a substantial amount of drugs or a substantial amount of money And the plan was to go there and rob him of either drugs or the money. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But the victim was not sorry. We went to the house. The guy was supposed to sell drugs and he wasn't supposed to be home. So they went in the house.
They who?
trying- the
Okay.
other three co-defendants. And I made a bad decision of going in the house with them.
No, Mr. Williams, today's the day to be honest. You've been in
Right.
prison 18 and a half years.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
pled to manslaughter. We have the police information, the reports of what happened.
Right.
So I need you to be as honest as you can and tell us what your involvement was in the commission of this crime.
Well,
Obviously, it was a
involvement-
decision, so I want to know what decisions did you make that caused you to be in prison with a 40-year sentence?
I made the decision of leaving my house, going with them to go over there and get the drugs from the guy. But I was under the influence of drugs also. And
All right. Well, let's
went in the
report-
house,
Yeah, go ahead. You went
went
in
in
the
the
house.
house, looking for the drugs. And somehow the guy went in the other room and all I heard was a gunshot. Then he shot the guy. I was in the living room when all this happened.
How many of you all went in the house?
Four of us.
And 2 people went to trial and were convicted of second-degree murder, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You pled guilty to a manslaughter and the female pled guilty to being an accessory after the fact, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened after the crime occurred?
We left the house. They dropped me back off, and they went wherever they went at. But I was still under the influence of drugs at the time.
Okay.
It really hit me the next day. It hit me.
What kind of drugs were you using?
Cocaine and marijuana.
And how much had you done that day?
Like 2 grams.
How old were you when you started using drugs?
17.
What kind of drugs were you using at 17?
Alcohol and marijuana, really.
And when did you start using cocaine?
I was like 22 years old when I first tried it, but it wasn't an everyday habit.
And did it become an everyday habit?
Yeah, eventually.
Were you employed during this period of time?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work were you doing?
Working with budget tree service.
Was that a steady everyday job or was that a just every now and then job?
5 days a week.
And how long did you work there?
I worked there for like 6 months.
What other jobs did you have?
Before that, I worked offshore. That was in 2001.
What did you do offshore?
Deckhand.
And how long did you work offshore?
Worked offshore for like a year.
Did you graduate from high school?
No, ma'am, but I have received my high set here at Raymond LaBoard.
And why didn't you finish high school?
Dropped out. Young, making bad decisions.
You're classified as a first offender. You did have a misdemeanor and juvenile, but this was your first felony conviction. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us, how have you spent the last 18 and a half years?
I just been staying positive and focused, trying to better myself.
Well, tell us what you being positive and focused is not really doing anything. Tell me some of the things you've done since being in prison.
I've been involved in Malachi Dads, by me having kids. I think I needed to take that class, and also nurturing parents. I took living in balance. I just try to keep myself involved and keep my mind focused on bettering myself.
Is living in balance the only substance abuse related program you've been involved in?
I took AA and NA also,
For how long?
6 months.
What's your job at the prison?
As of now, I'm on squad 9,
What does that mean?
cutting vegetables from out the field.
What other jobs have you had in prison?
I had a trustee job on a road crew, but due to someone putting something in a van, I got locked up. 10-man crew. They locked everybody up. Somebody found some contraband and hid it in the van, and that's how I lost that job.
That was in February of 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the contraband?
Some phones. They found some broke phones on the side of the highway, and a hunt knife and some tobacco. Somebody hid it in the air conditioning vent, and they didn't want to take their charge, so they locked all us up.
You only had 8 write-ups in the last 18 and a half years, which is encouraging. But according to the master prison record, your institutional record is fair. Now, why your record would not be a good institutional record? Why? What would cause you to have a fair record?
Excuse me?
Your institutional record, they checked fair. Their choices were good, fair, and poor. And they checked fair. My question is, why do you think you didn't have good as opposed to fair?
Due to my last write-up, or the contraband. Before that, I was write-up free for 5 years.
Right. How long have you been a Strive member?
Since August,
Right.
right at 5 months, 6 months.
But you haven't regained your trustee status, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
Or what can you tell us about Mr. Williams?
Well, Mr. Jackson, he's taken some good classes, quite a few of them, matter of fact, and he's scheduled to start our victim awareness class next Monday. So, as always, my recommendation is that he start and complete that, no matter what the board's decision is today.
And you got your GED in 2019, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what would your transition plan be if you were to be successful, Mr. Williams? What's your transition plan?
First, I would like to give me a job. Well, I have a job, but see my parole, go see the parole officer. My plan is to stay focused on the outside, give me a support group, whether it's through the church or through my community. I have some support.
How do you
lined
plan to maintain your sobriety?
I attend AA and NA meets out there. And
That's something you think you need to do?
no, I would say that I receive the help. I wouldn't deny it, because I don't want to go back to being on drugs. I want to stay drug free.
You know, a lot of people get out of prison with that intention, you know, but the reality becomes quite different when you get outside. So what do you think you need to avoid going back to drugs?
Stand away from criminal activity, people that's involved in criminal activity, clubs, stay away from all of that. Anything that'll draw me back to that type of environment, I want to stay away from it. I want to surround myself with positive people that's doing positive things. And that's going to keep me focused and in the right direction. That's the outlook I want to have for myself. I have kids. My kids have since grown up. I left them when they were still kids or babies. So they're adults now, and I want to live a better life for them also.
You have 3 children,
Yes, ma'am.
and I understand that you have some contact with 2 of them, but not 1 of them. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What's your plan as far as work is concerned? What's your a concrete job op?
Well, I have a job lined up for the work for FedEx warehouse. My cousin, he's a supervisor over there
And where is that?
in St. Rose, Louisiana, St. Charles Parish.
That where you plan to live?
I'm living in Kenner, Louisiana. That's Jefferson Parish, the next parish over.
And plan to live with?
With my grandmother, just me and my grandmother.
How old is your grandmother?
She's 84. I think she need me to, I can help her also. By her living by herself, I can be a help around the house with her and just keep myself, go to church with her. I know she's gonna have me in church with her. That's no doubt. But I just want to live my life and help people much as I could, help my community. I know I've hurt so many people, and my heart cry out. I'm sorry for everything that happened. I'm sorry to the victim. I know this impacted a lot of people in the victim family, and I just want to truly say that I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. I'm deeply sorry.
That's on.
All right. Then we'll hear from Miss Elaine Williams. Miss Elaine? Is she here? Miss Elaine Williams, would you like to make a statement? Okay, what about Mr. Darius Williams? Would you like to make a statement, Mr. Darius Williams?
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead and make a statement.
I I'm Derrick Williams of Kenner, Louisiana. I'm Derrick's uncle. I live in Kenner as well. And he'll be living with my mother. She's 84, and he's right about one thing about church. He comes from a Christian-based family, and I like to state that myself, been employed 38 years with the same company, and a resident of Kenner. I've sat on boards with the city government, and also active in the church. And getting back to for his Derrick, Derrick was very quiet and shy kid, and always been a follower, and not a leader. And he knows I'm a nonsense uncle, where I believe in right and living right and doing right. He will have support if he's released, and I have the resource to get him the support. I have the resource financially to support him, and where he won't be a liability to society, be an asset to society, and be the man that God has called him to be. But I know it's easy for me to say that because that's my vision of him, but I'm also prayerful that he will make the right decisions. And even if he want to go back to school, I'll support him going back to school and going to sobrieties and doing whatever he needs to do so he won't violate his parole. And
All right.
You know,
Thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate that.
okay, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak as well.
Thank you.
And
right.
like I said, I'm no nonsense.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll hear from Kentay Franks. Is Kentay Franks here?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
How you doing? My name is Kente Franks. I am the brother of Derrick Williams. My brother, I lost him through this situation when I was about 10 years old. He's been away from me. So as far as that, we have had a relationship since then that's took a toll since then. As I was younger, my brother was around, supportive to me, did things with me, took me out, showed me how to be a big brother. I feel as though things with his accountability, I feel like it was a lot of peer pressure and activities that was around his environment that caused things to happen. As far as since then, as me growing up, I have seen a change in his behavior and the things that he's been going through with his classes, and showing us that he's changed since being in there. His family, we do have plans for him receiving a job coming out. Also, I'm in Chicago, and I'm an operations manager. If he does need support and a job here, if he's able to come here, I'm able to get him a job here also. But we have plans already for him to work when he gets out in Louisiana. I feel like this would be a big help, and I feel like he's changed as being in there, and that he's accepted his accountability, and that he's sincere about what happened, based on me talking to him. And I feel like this will allow him for a change within him. And also as a family, we will support his habits or any changes that he needs to be changed as far as his drug environment. I'm behind him 100% with that. And I would like to say our family to the victim's family that we're sorry about what happened from deep down in our heart. And we just would like for your forgiveness for the things that happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we're here. Okay, Elaine, would you like to make a brief statement, Elaine?
Excuse me, that's his mother. And I just got a text that she didn't receive the information to log in.
She's on.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to make a statement, Miss Elaine?
Yes, you hear me?
Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good morning. Okay, my name is Elaine Williams. I am speaking to you regarding the parole hearing for my son Derrick Williams. I would like to ask that you please grant parole to Derrick Williams when he appears before you today. I believe that Derrick is sincerely sorry for what he has done, and he realizes he has made many terrible mistakes that have resulted in many people being and him being sent to prison. I truly believe you will not regret this. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your comment. All right, we'll hear from now from Colton and Miss Suzanne Lau. Hear from Colton.
I'm sorry, my name is Brian Lyle. I was gonna speak first. I'm the son.
Okay,
of
Brian,
Colton Lyle.
speak. Go ahead, Brian.
Let me start by saying honesty goes a long way, as we all know. My name is Lyle, son of Colton Lyle. Let me start by saying Happy New Year's to everyone. Son, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, friend, a girlfriend, and now would be grandfather to my two daughters, who are now 1 and 2 months old, is not here with us. Like I said, last parole hearing, only memories I have of my dad are the ones that people tell me, because I was only 4 years old. My dad was 23 years old when Derrick and his co-defendants played a part in the murder of my father. I'm now 22 years old and still have not lived longer than him. Derrick Williams received a 30-year sentence for his part in the murder of a human being. I think that kind of sentence is lenient enough for a life sentence that was given to my father and my family. All I can do now is share pictures and memories that people have told and showed me with my two daughters, because we will never be able to share personal memories with him. We will never get to know him. Let me end here by saying I strongly oppose to Derrick Williams receiving parole today, because my father, Colton Lyle, aka CJ, will never get a second. 18 years is just not long enough. I wear his necklace today as one of the few things I have of him. Thank you all for letting me speak today.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Hear from Miss Suzanne.
Just so
You like to, Suzanne?
she's coming now, sir.
She might be the last.
You still talking?
Today is January 3rd, 2023. For many of us, especially those who have lost a child, there was no such thing is a Happy New Year. Each year on January 1st is another nightmare to reset for me. I have lived through this and I have to live through it again. Another birthday. My son's not here. Another Mother's Day. My son's not here. His anniversary of his death. And any other day that is a special celebration with me and my family, without our son. But what hurts a mother the most is living day by day. My daily needs. Without my son. No more calls, hugs, no more mom. What are you cooking for dinner? And Mom, I love you. He will never get to see the person that his son has or his beautiful granddaughters. They'll never get to know their grandfather. So what I'm trying to say is my son is paying the price for whatever he did wrong. But remember, he also did not have a choice. And his life did matter to me and my family. You get to wake up every morning and get your mail, see how your family's doing from time to time. Where you at? My son, I hope everyone can show some compassion for us, for me and my husband and my family who is living this nightmare. And I pray that no mother or father will ever feel this pain. My husband and I feel day by day. Thank you and God bless.
So sorry. Thank you. Mr. Colton, would you like to make a brief statement?
I'm gonna let my daughter talk first.
Well, they had, you said 3 of them.
Hello, my name is Christy Petrolia, and CJ was my baby brother. We were 2.5 years apart, and he was taken from me years ago. And I'm just going to reincinerate the fact that, as you can see, we have had years of tragedy. It wasn't just a negative thing that happened to our family. And Derrick's mother said the negative things that occurred to other people. This wasn't a negative thing that occurred to our family. This was a tragedy. This was a horror film. When you look at television programs, and I said this at the last parole hearing, and you think, oh my God, how could that happen to these people? That is what happened to our family. And I am so sorry for whatever you are going through now, Mr. Derrick, as a result of the choices that you made in life.
Speak to the board. Don't speak to
So
him.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Stand.
But we weren't given a choice in this matter. My brother wasn't given a choice whether he could live or die or serve 30 years in prison or get out in 18 and a half because believing that there was good behavior. No family should have to endure the pain that we have went through. No family. And we relive it over and over again every day of our lives. Every day our lives have been taken away because of this tragedy. And I just oppose that he get out early on
Yes,
any
ma'am.
type of behavior.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Mr. Colton, would you like to make a final comment?
Yes, sir.
I'm Colton Lau Senior. Colton Lau Junior, CJ was my son. I'm not gonna go into great detail. I'm gonna say that I oppose, early releases, and especially in this particular case involving my son, but I'm opposed to early releases in general.
Yes.
I think it's too lenient, to keep letting people go. So they have to serve their sentences for what they did, and I'm gonna leave it at
Yes.
that. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you so much for your comment. So sorry. Randy, would you like to make a statement, Mr. Randy Meyer?
Yes, sir. Randall Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish, and our office is also strongly opposed to his request for parole. One, as y'all have seen, is very strong victim opposition. But two things really concern me, and that's regarding responses that Mr. Williams made to questions by Judge Jackson. He really has never taken responsibility for his participation in the crime, and that's very concerning to me. In his applications, he said they were going to buy cocaine, and truly what happened is he participated in the planning of this robbery that went awry. And despite Judge Jackson trying to get Mr. Williams to be honest about his participation, I did not hear him really correct himself and talk about that. Secondly, I was very concerned with his response regarding AA and NA. That suggests to me that he clearly needs a long-term substance abuse treatment program, successful completion of one before he's considered for parole. He said he doesn't really need AA and NA, but he would go and he would go and participate. Well, as we all know, addicts need some type of program, and one of the first things they teach you in those programs is that you do need it. You do need to participate. You do need to maintain that. I have friends who are 30 years in AA and have been sober for many years because of their participation in those programs. And I think that's very important for him to realize and to understand, or he will be right back doing the same thing that he did that got him incarcerated this time. His programs are limited. He had Living in Balance in 2019, which, although is a substance abuse program, clearly he didn't learn from his responses. He didn't learn sufficiently what he needed to learn about substance abuse. He did the pre-release program in 21. Other than that, 2011, 16, and 18, he did some programming. He does have a fair institutional record. He lost 90 days of good time and only had 15 of those days restored. And then he had that disciplinary report that was talked about back in 2000. So for those reasons, we are strongly opposed to his request.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Williams, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, I just like to say to the victim family, I'm truly sorry for what took place. I know it's a deep impact on everyone in that family, and I sincerely want to say I'm sorry. I have many times cried out because of what I did. This has affected me. It has affected my family, and most of all, the victim family. And I just want to say I continue to make a change. I continue to strive and stay focused on making that change. Many people that want to give me the time, and sorry. I just want to keep myself out of all trouble. being here in prison, I have learned that the friends I make, I have to choose wisely because the choices I made was real bad. Even though I know I can't go back and change it, I can do better and try to live better for myself and for my family. And I just want to say, I want to say that I no longer have an urge to even do drugs, but I would say that I want support just to stay sober and fake and thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. Panel prepare to vote.
Like to move to
We have a motion on the floor for executive session.
second.
We have a second. Roll call, please.
Bonnie Jackson.
Yeah.
Brenda Kelsey.
Yes.
And Cheryl Woodhouse. Yes.
We'll be right back.
I'm surprised they're moving to an executive session here. This seems like an obvious deny. Well, I guess we can chat about this. Yeah, I'm trying to find the case. The problem is that Derrick Williams is such a popular name. Like, there are so many things that show up for it. Is even just as a few weeks ago, for someone who's been arrested for manslaughter in Louisiana, which is kind of sad. But I can't find this case. I know some of you may feel pretty frustrated with Mr. Mirabella, the judge, cutting off the. But I think you should have let the victims talk a little bit longer. A little frustrating to me too. I just want to say, and also kind of like don't say I'm sorry if you're not going to put some empathy behind it. I think it's better just to say nothing. Like with Judge Mirabella saying, "I'm so sorry." I'm sorry with your, like at the end. Just something that was on my mind I wanted to share. Something that I've noticed with this family is they keep saying, "I'm sorry about what happened. I'm sorry it happened." The crime happened. Like, they don't mention the victim's name. You'd think all these years later you would at least. And now, on the flip side, man, it does suck if you go with a bunch of people to do a robbery and your buddy shoots someone and then you get the sentence. That's just the way the law works. But it is different. He was not the shooter, and I've always had a little bit of an issue with it, because I think it should be different. The person who pulls the trigger should have a harsher sentence than the person that was involved in it. So I do think it doesn't. I'm not saying that I don't think he should get the sentence he has, but it's not the same thing. Maybe that's what they're talking about right now. I could see them coming back with that kind of, but still, it's heart-wrenching to hear his son, who was 4 years old when his dad was taken. And his dad was 23. He's 22 now. Gosh, he was a baby. Yeah, the perpetrator's brother got up to spoke. That wasn't a good speech. He said, "When I was 10, I lost my brother." Oh, they're back.
All right, we're back. Panel prepare to vote.
Yeah.
Ms. Jackson.
Mr. Williams, this is a difficult case. For many of our cases, difficult. To the Lyell family, I heard you. I see how difficult this is for you. And I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate your input, listening to the things that you have to say. Our job is to take everything into consideration. And as I look at Mr. Williams, your first offender, you did not act alone in this. As a matter of fact, 2 other people involved are in fact serving a life sentence for this crime. But I do share Mr. Meyer's concern about your understanding of the nature of a substance abuse disorder. Positive thinking is not going to keep you from relapsing into drug use. And you indicated that at the time of this crime, you were actively involved in an addiction to cocaine. You have done some good programs, even though you lost that 90 days of good time. You've only had 8 write-ups in the time that you've been there. So my vote today would be to grant upon completion of a long-term DOC substance abuse program and completion of victim awareness, which can also be done at the Steve Foyle program. So my vote today would be to grant conditional upon completion of long-term substance abuse and victim awareness.
Ms. Renatson?
I do agree. My vote also is the same, conditional grant upon completion for the victim awareness, long-term substance abuse.
Yeah, 2 votes to grant to long-term substance abuse. It is difficult cases. These are all difficult, as Ms. Jackson said. But we're, I think this is the best decision for you. I vote to grant you parole through long-term substance abuse program, Steve Hall, 9 months intensive rehab. After you get through, you have a curfew from 9 p to 6 a. You'll follow up with care, substance abuse treatment, and you'll attend NA, AA 2 times a week. So after successful completion, you'll have, that'll be your stipulation. You understand the stipulations? You understand the plan?
Yes, yes, sir.
3 votes to grant the Steve Hall Intensive Substance Abuse Program. Parole's been granted. Good luck to you. And we'll adjourn at 10:29 at Raymond Board. Thank you, Warden.
Thank y'all. Happy New Year.
Well, saying Happy New Year at the end by the warden might have been a little bit distasteful. Although I know he's, So that's what they were kind of discussing. It's good to know that the other 2 do have life sentences, although I wonder if they will also get some type of commutation chance. Ms. Jackson did make a good point. This was his first felony offense. He didn't pull the trigger. The other 2 are facing life sentences. But he wasn't honest. And I don't get why someone should be given a break if they are not honest with what they've done, because it's a slap in the face to the victims. He was involved in the planning of it. So say that. Why are you, he gets up here and he lies after all those years. So for that reason, I don't get why they should, why not tell him, be honest? It's hard when you see the victims. They look so broken. They look so angry. They look so frustrated. I can't imagine that they had to have been going through these parole hearings, and now they probably feel violated again. And that's a terrible thing. All I could say is, thank God that he was young. He was 23, but he had a son, and he's able to pass on his generation, and they have a grandson from him. And I don't know, I'm trying to look at it from the bright side for their family. What do you guys think? I do go back to the fact that he didn't pull the trigger. That there were 2 other people involved. They got life, which is, good to know. He didn't pull the trigger. But then I flip back to the fact that he didn't admit guilt. He went in there straight up lying. Like he went up there lying, and Miss Jackson threw him a big juicy softball and said, hit it out of the park, be honest, and he still wasn't. Why would it be so difficult to go in there and say, we planned a robbery, we wanted to get his drugs and his money, and I helped plan it, and we went in, and my boy, he shot him, and I knew that we were going to bring a gun, but there was never a plan to shoot him, and I can't, and I was young and dumb. But no, he has to go and lie. Like, what? Why? Just, for me, that's just not forgivable. I always take it personally. If you go there and you own it, it's a different story, in my opinion. If anyone can find the article on this, please do share it. I really do want to read the details. I don't think I have anything else to add to this. So with that, I will let you go.